what's your name?
Yeah.
This is my son, Eli.
Country and Andrea.
he's saying my name.
Okay, look over here, Eli. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Santa Claus.
You want to be Santa Claus?
Yeah.
Okay, and why?
Because I want to be Santa Claus.
What are you going to do when you're Santa Claus?
Okay, you can be present everybody, boy.
You going to bring presents to everyone?
Yes.
All right, that's a great thing. Okay, can you give us a smile? All right.
What's your name?
Eli.
Who is Eli?
Me.
You. How old are you?
16.
What's your favorite color?
Green.
What's your favorite food?
Burger.
Hamburgers?
Yes.
What's your favorite song?
Baby setting. Welcome to Choco.
Welcome to the jungle.
Yes.
Do you go to school?
Yes. Every day.
Every day?
Yeah.
Do you feel differently than other kids that go to school with you?
Yeah.
How?
A lot.
A lot?
Yeah.
How come?
Because I was with 10. I was with 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 16.
Oh, because they're older and
Yeah.
younger?
Yeah.
Do you know what autism is?
Ooh.
Autism?
Yeah, I got 10.
Oh, you do?
What is it?
Me.
It's you?
Yeah.
Okay.
What makes you special?
I just had better.
Are you special, Eli?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I want to be gifted.
If you could do anything, what would you do?
I didn't watch TV.
You want to watch TV?
Yeah.
All right. And what's your favorite thing about mommy?
Mama is good. Mama.
Aww. I'm a good mom?
Yes?
Okay. And then what's your name?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
My name's Mariah.
How do you know Eli?
He's my brother.
Do you go to school with Eli?
Yes.
What's that like? Do you spend lunch with him?
Yeah, I spend lunch with him.
That's good. The age difference. How old are you? How much younger are you from Eli?
Just a year apart.
What's the hardest part about seeing the way people interact with Eli?
Well, some people look at him differently sometimes, and I feel like that's irritating because I don't see Eli that way. I see him the same as most kids. I feel like they just look at him different because of how sometimes he interacts with them.
What's your favorite part about being Eli's sister?
My favorite part? I guess the way Eli looks at things differently, and I learn new perspectives all the time.
What's something that you want people to understand about autism?
That it doesn't make them different. Like, it makes them different, but it doesn't make them less. It just means they're unique in their own way.
Your name?
My name is Kat.
And how do you know Eli?
Elijah is my son. We call him Eli.
And what is Eli diagnosed with?
So originally when Eli was 2 years old, he was diagnosed with mild autism. At this point, he has been diagnosed as moderate. So moderate autism is his diagnosis.
And how old was he when he was diagnosed?
So Elijah originally was 2 years old when he was diagnosed with autism. How we found out is we took him in to be seen because he had pneumonia, and the doctor there at that time noticed that Elijah didn't speak, and so we were referred over to a psychologist where he was then diagnosed with autism.
And what was your reaction when he was diagnosed?
After hearing the news, it was my father, his father, and myself. After we got the news, we were both pretty much confused. At that time, they didn't really know too much about autism. We were told different things. We weren't sure if he was like mentally, we weren't sure exactly what that meant, to be honest with you. Like, we didn't know if that was like a physical thing, was it mental, was it a brain disorder? They didn't have too many answers. We were definitely told that They didn't know what the cause was. We still yet don't know what the cause is. They're saying it's not genetic, it's not anything to do with us or the environment. There's a lot of questions that we have. We've never really been giving any answers. What we do know is that it is a brain disorder, and that's pretty much it.
Do you notice any differences between Eli and other kids when he was younger, before he was diagnosed?
Before diagnosed, no. He developed, he's the middle child of my three. Up until he was, maybe I want to say like 2.5 years old, everything, pretty much he developed the same way. He hit all his milestones. Eli did in the beginning say a few words. He would say mama, he would say daddy, he would say mine, no, yes, things like that. He walked early. I think he was probably like 10, almost 11 months when he started walking. Okay, so after about 2.5 years old, Eli had stopped talking. That's when we kind of noticed, and this is a little bit before he did have the pneumonia. We noticed that he stopped talking kind of like altogether. He would point to things and kind of make noises, kind of like, you know, things like that. But he wouldn't say the words of what they were. He stopped saying mama, he stopped saying daddy, pretty much stopped saying everything. That's when we kind of noticed something was a little bit different. Another thing too, with Elijah, we also noticed was we thought maybe he might be deaf, because there would be loud noises in the house that would startle the other children, but not him. We did different things, kind of like one time he was asleep and we kind of went next to his ear and did like a really loud clap just to see if he would react to that, and he did not. So it's kind of like little things that we started picking up here and there is when we kind of got concerned. And thought maybe, you know, there was something happening with him.
How old was Eli when he started to communicate again?
So for Eli, talking again, he was actually, I want to say maybe about 12 or 13 years old when he finally was starting to say words that we could understand. But he did always, throughout the time, he would kind of mumble, and sometimes things would kind of sound like, you know, but we weren't sure. And again, a lot with the pointing.
What are some bias people have about autism that you feel aren't true?
Because there's not like a lot of answers as to what exactly autism is and what it does, and there's also the spectrum. So with autism, they have something that's called a spectrum, and what it is a scale. So the scale is from 0 to 10. I believe 10 is more higher functioning, and then 0 would be like the worst. So, you know, with that kind of scale, is like, wow, you know, you hear autism and you don't know, is it, you know, something really, really bad, or is it, you know, is it just such a wide scale? And I feel like because doctors don't really know what it is, or there's no treatments, they don't know what causes it. I think people are biased because they don't know, just like us. We don't know what it is, you know, and a lot of people just classify them as being mentally disabled, retarded, I've heard, you know, things like that. It's actually very smart. Kids with autism are actually geniuses. They know quite a bit, and they just think differently, and I think they learn differently, and people just classify them as just being, you know, disabled, and that's it, and they don't know anything, they can't do anything, and things like that, and that's not true.
What are some challenges you have faced as a parent having a child on the spectrum?
Lots of challenges, of course. Eli's still learning to talk. You know, his language level is kind of that of, I would say maybe like a 7 or 8 year old at point. He is 16 years old. So some of the different challenges is a lot of times, of course, we're his family, so we definitely understand everything he wants and needs here. But when we're out and about, you know, people have difficulty understanding him. He also has like these nervous jitters that he does. He does like a lot of rocking. He does this, you know, when we're out in public and people don't understand what the rocking's about. He does little things where he'll kind of like shake his hand, or a lot of times he likes to play with the hanger. He wants to take the hanger out and he just kind of bangs the hanger on his legs. So there's different things, you know. Also, I don't think he's very aware that other people are staring at him. You know, a lot of times we run into people and they're just staring because they don't know, you know, what's going on there. He doesn't look like he's special, or, you know, he doesn't look like anything is wrong with him. But then when he starts talking or the rocking and things like that, then they're like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on? So those are some of the different challenges, because of course you want, as a mother, you know, you want to be protective and you want to, you know, hey, what the hell are you looking at? Or, you know, but, you know, I have to be aware of what's going on around him, and that people don't understand. You know, people are not aware of what autism is and that it's an actual disorder. Also, too, he's not aware, like, he'll just storm, like we're in the movies or something like that. He'll just run, and he doesn't care if he bumps somebody. He doesn't realize, like, oh, you know, you can't just bump people and people get angry, things like that. So
what are some blessings Eli has taught you?
there's so many. Definitely not to take anything for granted. Eli has definitely taught us to, because he looks at things differently. He's definitely taught us to not take anything for granted. Everything in this world is a blessing. If you know, it's not a disability. He's not disabled to us here. He's taught us to love one another, to just take everything, everything is a blessing with him. One story that I want to share is when he was a kid. We were at the park and he was collecting rocks, picking up rocks. And I told Eli, what do you do with all these? We're not going to bring all these rocks home, like, you know, they're dirty. And he held the rock up to me. And the way, I don't know, it was kind of weird. The way he was looking at the rock, I knew to him it wasn't just a rock. It was kind of hard to explain. Like, I just looked at it like a dirty, you know, something, oh, you're going to have all these rocks in our house and they're dirty and they're yucky. But the way he looked at it, I could tell he saw something different in the rock. So metaphorically speaking, the way he looks at things are just something, I don't know, something in his mind is seeing something else. And it just kind of showed me that instead of trying to, I don't want to get emotional, but instead of trying to drag Eli into our world, I started seeing the world through his eyes. And it just changed my whole life. It's something so beautiful. So my advice as a parent is to stop trying to make your child be a part of this world, but enter theirs. It opens up a whole new world of understanding. You'll stop fighting to make them normal or to make them what we call normal. And when you enter their world, you'll see that it's so much more beautiful. And to me, I feel like we're the ones that are disabled because we try so hard to be like everyone else. We try so hard to be perfect, to be beautiful, to be this and to that. And Eli is happy. He's so happy he doesn't care about any of that. And so to me, I feel like we are the ones that have the problem, because he lives every day to the fullest. He's happy. He's never sad. He's never worried about what anybody else thinks about him. He expresses himself freely, and that in itself is a blessing. So if I had any advice to any parent who has a child with autism, it would definitely be to just walk in their shoes and enter their world. You'll find that it's far more beautiful.